All right, folks, it is accelerating. It's not going in a good way either. From Washington to Tehran, financial markets, military flashpoints, pressure points, all kinds of points. They're all coming together at once. United States has new questions being raised about a lot of these things that are going on with like the Jeffrey files. Lawmakers are signaling potential reviews tied to that. There's also going to be looking at Anthony Weiner's laptop. Long-running power struggles in Congress itself. Pelosi is saying that it's basically Trump's bidding. There's been mass protests erupting in Iran because of inflation. North Korea has chucked another long-range missile, and China is wrapping up military drills all around Taiwan. At the same time, you've got gold and silver doing what they do, and that is go up, 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 up. Bitcoin is being called gold 2.0, but we'll see how that all works into this new system because we are at a historic economic reckoning. And we've got other things going on. And as America is busting out, at least the metals are, Europe is engaged in tensions, just like the Middle East. And they're having a lot of problems over there. So let's break it all down. This is your crisis report for December 28th, 2025. My Lord, how time is flying. We appreciate you being here. Best thing you can do, folks, is to become a member here on Substack. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Check them out. Link in the description. Here we go. This is your crisis report. Thanks for being here. And of course, please, please, please check out the latest video over on PrepperNow that we just got done wrapping up. Representative Thomas Massie has hinted that the Jeffrey files could reveal the truth about claims that Trump was an FBI informant against Mr. Epstein. Congress is preparing to review contents from Anthony Weiner's laptop, part of an investigation tied to the Clinton Foundation. Israeli state media has warned that Netanyahu should be most concerned about Florida gubernatorial candidate James Fishback, who has labeled him a threat to U.S. foreign aid to Israel. Interesting. Democratic Representative Nancy Pelosi has stated that right now Republicans in Congress have abolished the Congress. They just do what the president insists what they do. They will never be over as soon as that will soon be over as soon as we have the gavel, and they're fighting for it. Hundreds of people are protesting in Tehran, Iran, against high inflation, rising costs of essential goods, and a demonstration directed against the regime. There's a lot of problems going on over there, especially with the financials. The rial is basically paper. It's worthless. Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi has stated that we will not accept any part of Somalia becoming a foothold for Israel at the expense of Somalia's independence and sovereignty, the security of the Somali people, or security of the Red Sea region. This is a direct threat. And a lot of what's going on in this area in the Horn of Africa is directly because of Yemen and what's going on there. And also, you could see in the next coming months the birth of a new nation, which is Eastern Yemen, and it's got two different sides pulling it. You've got the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and I've got a post coming up here about how things in Saudi Arabia as it pertains to their thoughts on Israel, how they're not doing well. North Korea has test-fired another long-range missile, state media said. Buying online in the EU will soon require proof of solvency and full disclosure of salary and financials before making that purchase. Quote, this means that anyone who orders socks online for 10 euros and only wants to pay later, the buy now, pay later things like Klarna, would suddenly have to disclose their salary and account balance. Instead of desire to shop, there's a threat of bureaucratic frustration, something they seem to love. Government itself estimates an additional 170,000 hours per year for customers. In addition, up to 100 million euros in bureaucratic costs will be incurred. Online retailers would have to hire additional staff for the inspection. Silver has reached a new all-time high of $80. It's going up, 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 up. We just checked at places like SD Bullion and AppMex. With the premiums, it is currently selling in America, and you'll have to wait for it, at about $93 to $95, depending on what you're getting. Anti-crypto, Peter Schiff says, prepare for a historic economic collapse. Yes, the doom voice is coming out. He is saying that there's going to be a historic collapse. Are you doing things to get yourself ready for a historic collapse? Hopefully you are. Gemini CEO Tyler Winklevoss says that wait till the world realizes that Bitcoin is gold 2.0. Gold reached a new all-time high of $4,500. Saudi Arabia source told Israeli Channel 12 that relations between Saudi Kingdom and Israel have entered its lowest phase after Tel Aviv recognized Somaliland as an independent state. Israel's recognition of Somaliland distances it from normalization with Riyadh and increases its isolations from the region. How will Netanyahu feel when Saudi Arabia supports Palestinian liberation movements in the West Bank and Gaza and Lebanese liberation movements in southern Lebanon? Well, we'll consider this a declaration of war. After all this, does Netanyahu still talk about normalization? What madness is this? This is Saudi royal source to Israel, Channel 12. Last week saw the release of the 2025 China Military Power Report. For those not familiar, this is the DoD's congressionally mandated, unclassified update on the Chinese military. It's an annual feast of open source data. So here's some thoughts. Part one, new report's exec summary makes a pretty strong statement saying that the PLA is making progress specifically towards its goal to be able to achieve victory over Taiwan and balance against the U.S. China expects to be able to fight and win a war on Taiwan by the end of 2027. New report also states that China has been practicing components of all of its options to force Taiwan unification, including strikes on U.S. forces in the Pacific that could seriously challenge and disrupt them out to 1,500 to 2,000 nautical miles. Makes clear that despite obfuscation on China's part, PLA's 2027 goals really are about U.S. and Taiwan and the ability to win a war over it. Department of Defense expects the PLA at least to launch 5 more carriers in the next 10 years. Question mark. Perspective. The United States Navy will be buying its next 5 carriers over more than twice that timeline. So given the U.S. carriers are deployed globally, they will end up outnumbered in the Pacific. One thing's clear is that for all the talk about the carrier being an obsolete platform, because of things like drones and anti-ship ballistic missiles, the Chinese, who are the world's largest producers of both, clearly haven't gotten the message. Maybe they're not outdated. Maybe there's a big old war coming. Yeah. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, called with the Saudi counterpart, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, to held urgent consultations regarding the developing security situation in Yemen. Iran and Saudi Arabia are aiming to develop a joint strategy to counter the UAE-led advance in southern and central Yemen. President Trump called on the Katz and Cosby show, December 26th. Now, this is a big one. This one is Ohio Valley here? Are you in here, OVP? My homie? There he is. Good. This is the one. I know you emailed me, my brother. This is the one that's important because this directly states that Trump called this show and said that we've started land strikes, even if it's only limited. But so here we go. President Trump called in on the Katz and Cosby show December 26. He suggested that the U.S. had already conducted a land strike in Venezuela. That was on December 24th, which he hasn't mentioned since the appearance. Every time I knock out a boat, he said, we save 25,000 American lives. It's very simple. And what's happening is they're having a hard time employment-wise. They can't get anybody. I don't know if you read or saw, but they, Venezuela, have a big plant or big facility where the ships come from. 2 nights ago, December 24th, we knocked that out. So we hit them very hard. But drugs are down 97%. Can you believe it? So according to that statement, people are saying that the first land strike has potentially happened. You heard it here. China's PLA Eastern Theater Command has announced new military exercises around Taiwan dubbed Just Mission 2025, appear to rehearse a blockade-style operation. Drills will take place in December 30th around 8 a.m., 6 p.m., involving live fire activities in airspace and water surrounding Taiwan. Exercises will focus on sea-air combat patrols, joint operations, and they're going to seize overall superiority, blockading key ports areas, and conducting multi-directional deterrence beyond the island chain. The United States continues to bolster its air power in the Caribbean with at least 10 MQ-9A Reaper drones, 11 CV-22B Ospreys, 10 MC-130J Commando 2s, and 36 fighter aircraft now forward deployed to Puerto Rico. BQN Special Ops Drone Hub, RVR Strike Assets, IWOARG ACE, SJU C2 ISR EW, PSE Navy, and USMC Port, according to Ian Ellis. And of course, as always, folks, one of the greatest reasons for coming here on the Crisis Report is right here. You have the links to all this, and it will take you to Ian Ellis's X page where he will document this. Or you can go further on other places that have links. You may become a member for free. You may become a member for pay. Whatever you want to do, we're just glad you're here. Also, we have membership. Love to have you here. It helps the cause, helps us keep going, get the intel out 2 times a day, the most comprehensive news on YouTube. Rafael Hernandez Airport, Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Personnel have begun installing covers on fence lines to block spotters. Reviews of SOCOM movements. Silver has overtaken NVIDIA to become that second largest asset in the world by market cap, and copper has surged more than 5% in London to hit a record high. United States funds are seeing exceptionally strong demand from abroad. Since 2010, U.S. funds have attracted a cumulative $1.2 trillion in cross-border inflows. Since 2020 alone, global investors have poured $1 trillion into those funds. Over the same period, overseas inflows are going somewhere. And again, that's the link right there to the Kobayashi letter. We suggest you check them out. United States home buyers and sellers are both retreating from the market. Estimated number of U.S. home buyers is down to 1,425,100 in November, second lowest in the last 12 years. By comparison, after the Rona, the low was 1,379,487. That was April 2020. Number of buyers has been in clear decline. Since publishing this research, we are now receiving multiple reports of physical silver prices exceeding $90 an ounce in China. I can confirm that. If you don't believe me, go to AppMex, go to SD Bullion, and it is right there on the front friggin' page, folks. Many are reporting physical silver prices in the U.S. above $80 an ounce, and they are. U.S. silver futures will open in 90 minutes. They got slammed down at the initial open to $75, and they went right back up. Something weird is going on, folks. So just know that. The financial system is got a bit of a fever. U.S. silver futures will open in 90 minutes. Silver mania has gone mainstream. Silver prices officially open above a record $81 an ounce. That's up 182% on the year. Y'all know bullish, been gold on silver. Now it's getting out of hand. Oh, wait, what's that? 6:20 p.m. Eastern. Absolute insanity in the markets. Just 20 minutes after futures opened, silver prices surged to a record high of $83.75. That was up 6% on the day. They were up almost 11% 2 days ago. Yeah. By 7:30 p.m., silver prices fell to a low of 75.15, erasing 10% of its value in 70 minutes, but they couldn't hold on. It's right back up. And we give the final word to one of my preferred and favorite subscribers out there, Mr. Great British Prepper. We get a view of what's going on in the United Kingdom from my friend here. He says, is the UK on course for an IMF bailout, the likes we haven't seen since 1976? Well, spending and borrowing are rising without private industry growth. Unlike the 1970s, though, we're going to need hundreds of billions instead of just a few billion. I believe this is globally timed collapse, as it's not just the Brits in financial trouble, but it's the Western economy. It's just so well planned. Thank you, sir. You have no idea how much it pleasures me to be able to put your stuff in here and to be able to talk to you in the background, like all of you. Thank you so much for being here on the Crisis Report. We do this nightly, and I'll tell you what, man, if you can find someone who's giving more information, you tell me, and I'll go and I'll watch that channel all day long. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thanks to the members like Stealth Mode and Bad Bobber and Water Tiger and all of the others. John Evans, thank you so much for being a member here. It helps. By the way, it's Drops Homestead here. He gifted 10 memberships on PrepperNow. I'd really like to thank him for that. But anyway, thanks for being here, folks. And if you like what we're doing, consider membership or just let a commercial play or just hang out. We like being here. We like having you. But anyway, we do this nightly. We appreciate you. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Check them out if you want to change your IRA or 401k into gold and silver. Other than that, we'll keep telling you all about it and keep prepping, folks. Trust me, it's going to pay off. Those that have been planning for this time period, like most of the people you're sitting there chatting amongst, they're in a pretty good spot, and they're going to need to be because, good Lord, there's major things coming. God bless you all. I mean that. We'll see you on the next one.